You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
Yeah, all right. Welcome to the Hello Sport Podcast. I'm unqualified opinion, no wavering bias. Flying through the intro because we've already done one. I'm recording from a laundry. Eddie from an office. Hope the audio's good. I'm on holidays. Eddie, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Good to see you in a laundry. Punters and dribblers, full transparency. We tried to do it before in the car. Tom,
Twice in the car. This is the third time.
That's right. Tom, not as used to getting horizontal as I am. And so it's just taking him a little while to work out how to podcast on your back.
Well, look, there's an element to that. There's probably an element of truth to that. I'd say that there's also some other factors that, you haven't necessarily considered in your representation of, me as a podcaster on holidays, mind you. Now, look, I know that a dog, Eddie, is a real fucking responsibility. I know that Tonka is firstly a dear friend to you, to me, to everyone, but he's a responsibility. You got to walk him. You've got to pick up his shit, I assume, on said walks. You got to give him food twice a day. I would say to anyone thinking of having children, or if you have them already and you're planning on going on a holiday with the sort of like mental intention of it being a good time, then I would just encourage you to not do it, or at least go in with your eyes open, that your time to like get horizontal is between the hours of like 10 o'clock at night and 6:30 in the morning. And then it's just go. Sorry.
So you're having a ball, Tom. Is that what I am?
I am having a ball.
Yeah.
I am being I've had a great time. We had an engagement party down in Mollymook. Shout out to T and Ash. Congratulations. Got down Friday, stayed in a lovely place. Went out Friday night, engagement Saturday night. Then again, Sunday was like recovery. I've never known like an engagement party to have 3 fucking events. Usually it's like the weddings do that. But this is,
Are they having a wedding?
They will at some point. Yeah, I think that's part of it as well. Who the fuck knows? But
well, I mean, like you say, you never get the 3-day engagement party. Well, they're very rare.
No.
Not to my knowledge, Tom. I've never seen one done before. I respect it when it's done, as in I've seen it done now, and I respect it. And
it was great fun. But sometimes when you rip and tear, that the day after is absolutely eclipsed by the day after that in terms of feeling bad. Mm-hmm. That's me today. I'm the day after, and like just had a fucking sickness in me all day. I have, as of 2:30 p.m, started drinking tequila and sodas because I was like, fuck it, it's that hour of the day, and I feel like maybe that'll change my stars. And funnily enough, it has. I feel better now. Does that mean I've got a dependency on alcohol? I hope not. But it certainly has helped the situation somewhat significantly. And you now find me here in a laundry, a little echoey maybe, but that's what happens, I've got the computer, Eddie, just so you know, the computer on the washing machine. And then I've got the microphone and my tequila on a children's high chair. I can even fucking bring that down for you.
Oh, that's lovely.
High chair. So you sit in there, microphone, just to...
No, I like that.
The microphone's fucking given out. I will say this as well, Eddie. What's the brand of this microphone? Because I'm gonna fucking abuse them right now. Yeti Blue. We spent a significant amount of money on this fucking microphone, and the most important, one of, you could argue, features of it is the ability for it to work, right? To be powered. Mm. Now, you'd hope that if you were to spend money on a product and that the fucking charger, i.e. the key to its existence, you would hope that would be of a standard that would allow someone to literally not even fucking touch it and just have it work. But no, for some reason it just drops out.
Mm. So basically, punters and dribblers, to best describe it to those playing along at home, it's a podcast microphone, apparently, that plugs into your computer so you can podcast on the go. That's how it was sold to us, to Tom and I. Now, there is a cord that plugs into the base of it. Now, it provides A, power, but B, it relays your voice back into the computer to me, blah, 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 blah. And on the voice travels down the channel.
It's the most important cord we are dealing with today.
Without the cord, Without the cord, it's just plastic, expensive plastic with some expensive wiring. That's all it is. That's all it is. Now, you could say, bullshit, the mic is actually the fucking thing at the end that you're speaking to. Bullshit. Without the fucking cords, plugging that fucker in, it's a bit of expensive plastic. The cords do all the heavy. It's a toy.
It's a toy.
That's the difference between toy microphones and real ones. They've got cords that plug into shit. That's the fucking difference, punters and dribblers.
Yeah.
And this Yeti motherfucker, like, I was using it at times on holidays. I swear to God, it would just fall out the bottom. It'd just fall out. It's plugged in. It's pushed up there. It would fall out. Now,
like leaves on a tree in the depths of autumn, Eddie.
When their time has come to go.
Yeah. Drop.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah. It'll drop out. So big shout out to Yeti,
Big shout out to Yeti and their blue microphone. If someone wants to DM them a clip of this and just be like, hey, be better, you fucks. You charge a lot of money for your products and they suck.
Yeah.
They sort of suck. When they work, they're good.
Well, when it plugs in, it's good, which, as we've said from the top, the most important aspects.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So, anyway, good on you, Yeti Blue. Tom, I'm getting a sense from you as you sit wherever the fuck you sit. Milton, is it?
We're at Mollymook at the moment. Mollymook.
That
I look like if you're looking at this video, I look like I'm in a fucking terrorist, like, ransom video almost.
You do. You look like you've been kidnapped, presumably somewhere in the Middle East, but not necessarily.
Doesn't have to be, but that's just where
it doesn't have to be. But I mean, if we're going on the last 15 years, that's probably where a lot of them have taken place.
It wouldn't be outrageous for your mind to wander to that part of that region of the world just based on the last 15, 20 years. That's all we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
And without any sort of geographical context, because this is just a room with some fucking laundry machinery in here.
Yeah.
How can you be judged?
You can't be. I mean, it looks like you're held there against your will. But what I wanted to say was, I'm getting a sense from you through the screen, through the mic, that family holidays are a different kettle of fish.
I think you could comfortably remove the word holiday from it and just be like living in another part of the state for a few days. But also like way harder because you don't have all of the systems and processes set up. And also you are trying to rip and tear a little bit. So like, and you have to be on, right? So like, Steffi still breastfeeding. She can't get fucked up. So like, I can't just be like, I'm on a holiday and I'm just going to do whatever I want. And you enjoy those two children. So you've got to be on. And like when we went to the engagement party, it was a beautiful party, as I said before, lovely property in Milton and big garden and all this sort of shit. And like, you get there, and you got two babies. And it's like the hardest part, like first we thought the hardest part was getting out of the house. Then we arrived there and then we're like, all right, let's go in. We arrived. Oh no, both of them have shit themselves. You got to change the nappy. Zoe's so bad that she needs a complete wardrobe change. She shit all through her clothes. Okay, sweet. Well, let's just get that out of the way quickly. All right, the party's going. All right, we're in there. Then once you're in there, who's looking after the kids? We are. And that's fine. Love them. I love them to death. Light of my life. But it's like with one kid, it's like you hold it. I'll hold it. You hold it. I'll hold it. With two, you're fucked. So it was a lot. It was a lot.
I'm surprised you didn't ship down to grandma.
Nah, to be honest, like you need to be able to deal with it because ultimately you're trying to create memories for them as well, Eddie. And you can't be selfish. Your life's over and you just got to deal with it. And it's about creating memories for other people. The memories I'll have, they might be a little more sour than the ones that Evie has.
Well, she may not remember it at all. I mean, I'd put it.
It's fucking disappointing, isn't it? For what I'm putting myself through. She won't even know.
No, she won't remember that, Tom. She's one. She's not even two. She's two. She's just two. She's not going to remember it. So look, all for nothing, but at least
you got to try. What is good is we're staying with a family, like we're staying with two other families. So staying with Harvey and Roddy and their wives and their babies, which is great because like that's the only way you can travel now. Like if you're just you and your family, that's also easy, or it's easier. But like if I was going with you to fucking Milton, or not even just you, like if it was just you and Ella, I think it'd be different because it was like you'd be on our wavelength and we'd sort of try and find an equilibrium. But like if it was you, me, and Josh, and we were all going on a holiday.
A ripper and tearer of note.
You'd be like, oh yeah, we've got dinner booked for 8. And I'm like, well, I have 2 kids that are asleep by then and I can't leave the house. So can we get it takeaway? And you're like, okay, wow, this is a ball ache.
No,
so it's been nice.
We'll get you some doggy bags for later.
That'd be really nice. We won't eat till 11:30. In fact, maybe 4 a.m, because you guys will kick on somewhere and then we'll wake up, 8 a.m, realizing or 6 a.m, realizing we haven't eaten. So it's been a lot, dude. The weather's been shit. I also, quite unfortunately, not so much for me, but for the man who it was, saw a dude die on the beach today, or saw a dead guy on the beach today, which was fucking intense. And I chipped my tooth like an hour ago. So it's been one of those. I mean, obviously, I'm not making light of death. His day's been far worse, but I did see that and then chip my tooth. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, you're just putting it in context. You're just putting it in context. And obviously
we all have our, we all have our issues. Death way worse. But
chipping your tooth,
my front tooth.
Chipping your tooth is still annoying, even if you saw a dead person or not.
Holy shit. Yeah, it is. Like, that's, you know what I mean? No amount of anything will take away from the frustration that inherently exists within a chipped tooth. And I did it from biting a fingernail. For those psoriasis sufferers out there, you'll know that when you get it, your fingernails turn to shit, which is just another great side effect. So I was biting into quite a robust nail, Eddie, as I sat at the dinner table, just trying to clear a couple of mils of nail because it was getting out of control. And as I managed to sort of break ground, as it were, I then was like, wow, this nail got big on me. I was being pretty delicate, you know what I mean? Like, the dexterity in my teeth is pretty fucking good. I can shave a mil off a nail like it's no one's business. Now I got a huge chunk of something in there. I spit it out, realize that the whole, so great, microphone's just falling out. We love it. 2 front teeth. My two front teeth, Eddie, are now chipped. This one, already chipped, and the dentist I went to, Barwin Yee, who I'll never return to, said he couldn't fix, even though he's a dentist. It's his job. So I've had a chipped tooth for the better part of a decade and a half. Now the next one, chipped. I have 2 chipped front teeth. Like I'm Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. Like, it's been a tough day.
So what, are you thinking veneers, buddy?
Can I afford veneers? For everything I've heard about veneers and dentistry in general, is that it is fucking expensive. And I'm like, do I deal with the chipped tooth or do I get it fixed?
I think it depends. It depends on how badly chipped it is. I would also say this. I don't know if we've talked about this before on the podcast, but getting veneers means that you become a veneers guy. Now, rightly or wrongly, or girl, obviously, you're a guy. So we'll use you as the example.
No, that's fair.
Once you go veneers, I think you sort of become veneers a little bit. What I mean by
they wear you.
Well, that's it. They wear you. And I'm not saying that they don't look good. I've got mates of mine, shout out John Ingate, that has veneers. And
does he really?
Of course he does. But he's a veneers guy.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Of course he does. But I didn't notice him. I will say this.
That's what I'm saying.
They're good. They're tasteful veneers, because you can see some, Willie Mason, where they're like pouring out of their mouth.
Yeah. I think you need to be delicate and subtle when it comes to veneers. Subtlety, the aim of the game. Now, that's right. John's mother is a dentist, so she knows what she's doing. John's are subtle. They're bespoke. I think they're quite tasteful. But be that as it may, if you do decide to go down the veneers route, you will then forevermore have veneers.
Can I speak directly to John right now? I'm going to take my glasses off. I hope he's watching. John, we have a lot of, really fruitful relationships on this podcast. We've got an official plumber, Alex Ironside. We have a lawyer in Izzy Carey, Lawyer to the Stars. I, as you may have just heard, in desperate need of a dentist. And Eddie's just reliably informed me that your mum is one. Now, I'd like a discount. Can we work something out here? We're good friends. What's Mama Ingate? She does she need a baggy green? Your mum will get a baggy green if she can fucking fix my teeth. for a very competitive price. Eddie, I know that I haven't run that by you, but that's.
Well, I was going to go one better, mate. I was going to say Scotty Rumble, also a dear friend of the show. His partner, lovely partner, IndyCar, now a qualified dentist. I think she's running things down there at Car Practitioners. I don't know what they're called. I just made that up, but like, let's go with it. Maybe it's a race to the bottom. Who wants to do on the cheapest?
And there's a baggy green in it. For any fucking dentist out there, there's a baggy green in it for you to fix my fucked up mouth. Now, look, I'm not asking for veneers, right? Again, I don't want to have a whole mouthful of new teeth. I don't need it. My teeth aren't great, but they're all right. I just need them fixed. I've got 3 chips in the front 4 teeth of my mouth. There are chips on them. I also have a baby tooth, which, that's probably a more embarrassing feature of my mouth that I'd like to rectify as soon as possible. It just never fell out. And from what the shit dentist that I've dealt with to this point told me, unless you want braces at 25, it ain't coming out. So baggy green on the table, baby. Fix my mouth.
Where's the adult tooth?
Sitting horizontal.
Sitting horizontal.
Yeah, dude, I should really call it the Eddie Simpson tooth because it's been horizontal for my entire life.
Can you feel it with your tongue?
No, it's in the gum.
Oh, it lives in the gum horizontal.
Yeah, like it never came down. So it just went.
And would you be looking to fold it down?
No, I'd be looking just for some sort of a veneer situation for that one. So
like a fake tooth.
To fold it down, they'd have to put braces and like a chain on it to pull it down.
So just leave it where it is.
My mouth's reached a tipping point today. My mouth has reached a tipping point that I can no longer ignore. I've ignored it for a long time, and I've reached a tipping point today where I need some solutions, and I need them fucking fast, Eddie.
Well, everyone reaches their own tipping point, and that tipping point is your own. Tom clearly reached his today, so we reach out to Dennis out there, help Tom fix his mouth. Yes, he's going to be tight about what he spends. So,
Well, I don't know if I am, Eddie. I'm offering a fucking baggy green. Am I being tight or am I being incredibly generous?
Good point. Good point. Be that as it may, we move on into the good night.
Yeah, we do. We press on.
How is the family?
Shout out to my dad who's looking after my house as well on the way. He hates my cat. My cat hates him, and they're making do. They're making do in a situation that isn't, it's not ideal. But shout out to Dad.
Is it going to be?
Apparently, he said to me, he goes, "You don't have a TV in your bedroom." So he's been binging the podcast apparently. And I was like, "Oh, fuck, how's that?" And he's like, "What the fuck is Euro Crumpet?" And I'm like, "Oh, God. Yeah, like, I don't know how to explain that. Is, what do I say? I'm 32 to a Euro Crumpet. Dad's like a fucking comedian. I'm like, what do I, yeah.
How's it going to be received?
Yeah, well, look, do you know what? He was positive, and was he positive because I'm his son, Eddie? Maybe that's why. He's gassing me up on the phone. Hope you well, love it, you and Eddie. But he was, he mentioned Euro Crumpet. It rattled me a bit. That was just before we got on here, actually. But shout out to Dad. Shout out to Louis. They're making the best of a bad situation.
I like that. Is there going to be a breaking of the bread at some point, do you think, between Louis and your old man?
Honestly, that's up to Louis. Dad's down for it. Dad's down for a good relationship with Louis. I think he wants that with his first grandchild, which was Louis. But that's Louis' choice. Ultimately, he's a mature age cat right now, and he can do what he wants. I'm not going to force him into any decision. That's for sure. It's the last thing I'll do.
No, I don't think you want to do that, Tom. Now, how are the kids? It seemed to me from some photos I saw that it was a very kid-friendly event. A lot of kids there. Not something that I have experienced yet in my life. Events I attend are kid-free. Do I like it that way? Well, I don't know any different. So I can't say for sure. I did recognize, though, through the photo, through the lens, via Instagram, that there was a lot of kids there. And I noticed it. I took stock of it. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information, probably other than to ask you.
It was Kid City, dude. No. There was lots of kids. There were more people like you who are still technically free. You know what I mean? but there were a lot of kids there. So obviously the families are with Roddy and Jerry. We had little Oscar, we had little Steely, and then I'm bringing 2 children, Zoe and Evie. Then, some other people there who I didn't necessarily know very well. Kids as old as fucking, I don't know, I'm going to say 10.
Let's get on.
Yeah, it's getting on. I think they were more like cousins and shit. I don't really know. But like there was some kids. But like if you were free, then you probably would have been able to operate comfortably across the whole day without having really come into much of an interaction with kids. Shout out to Uncle Wee as well, my brother, who I was at every opportunity just giving Evie to. But yeah, it was a lot of kids, dude. A lot of kids. Big night. I tell you what, though, Daddy did let the hair down. It was one of those ones where I took the babies home with Steph. They all went to bed. I came back and I ripped in, dude. I fucking went hard and found myself in the back of a car at like 3 a.m. listening to music and shit, like fucking old school days, just off your fucking nooner. So that was nice. It was nice to have a bit of a boogie and a bit of a rip and a tear, but we left. So there's like a back entrance to this joint. It's like a country Milton property sort of thing. So there's a back entrance and this road's now closed. They just closed it. I don't know. But I had used it before when it was operational, but it's all overgrown and shit. But it's the quickest way back to town at 3 a.m. when you got to walk home. So we walked that way and Harvey's like, dude, let's fucking just use the starlight, because it was a pretty bright night in terms of like the celestial bodies getting into their work. So we're like, all right, we'll give it a go. Took a wrong turn, found ourselves fucking nuts deep in a cow paddock, and then semi-confronted by someone we couldn't see in the distance. It was like, what the fuck are you doing on my property? Like, oi! We're like, huh? What are you doing? We're like, we're just trying to go home. And then we turned our torches on and we're like, oh, we're not on the road anymore. We're in a paddock.
What was he doing out at 3 a.m?
We were walking past his property, so whatever his homestead was that we couldn't see on the property, because it was actually it was light, but we overestimated how light it was because we couldn't see a fucking house that was right next to us.
Right. So it wasn't like a beautifully moonlit night.
Well, it's been an overcast situation. It's been a bit cloudy. As I said, I went for a swim today and I saw someone unfortunately fucking die or you know what I mean? Like it's not it's
and you're blaming that on clouds.
I'm blaming it on the weather.
Sure. Fair enough. Well, Tom, I'm glad that you've had a nice time, mate. I'm glad that you're feeling okay. I'm glad that you're sort of with us, the punter and the dribbler.
Mate, you know what? Life could be worse, that's for sure. I know I'm coming on here, I'm having a bitch and a moan. I've had a good time, sort of, and life could be worse. Sort of.
Any blow-ups?
Nah, because we're all in it together. That's kind of what's funny. We're all in here as parents being like, we were talking last night, we were all fucking wrecked yesterday because it was obviously the morning after, and it was like the evening, and we were all sitting there on the couch and we were like, what do you, sort of silent, just like we're defeated. The kids are in bed finally. We're all just sitting there hung. I'm like, what do you reckon's more taxing as a parent? Is it emotionally taxing or is it physically taxing? And we were like, fuck, it might be equal. Might be 50% of both. It's fucking tough. So good luck to everyone.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's another ringing endorsement for parenthood. They all seem to be better than the last from where I'm sitting.
Yeah. Love them.
That's all right.
Love them.
Tom, should we talk a little sport, buddy?
I think we should.
Now, we last Thursday talked briefly about this Justin Langer situation. I can't recall what the fuck we said. So if we're going over old ground, then stiff shit. It is what it is. And old ground will be covered because I can't remember the conversation at all other than to say that we had it. Now, Justin Langer offered a 6-month-ish, 9-month-ish deal that would get him through to the T20 World Cup, which will be held in Australia at the end of the year, November-ish, something like that. He's been like, fuck that, brah. That's a slap in the face. I'm resigning, which is interesting. But what is most interesting is Pat Cummins sort of straight batting his response every time he was asked, what do you fucking think? Are you going to endorse the captain, the coach, blah, blah, blah. Never did. Now he's been flicked, and all the old players are coming out being like, it's fucking disgraceful. You know, they're gutless, all these current Australia players. No one's supporting JL. Look what he's done, yada, yada, yada. And their argument is JL fucking won the T20 World Cup and the Ashes 4-0. Fair enough. Now, what is your opinion on all of this, Tom? Where are we at? I've got mine. You've got yours.
It's a weird one, dude. It's a weird one. So there's like, obviously all the former, forgive me, Daddy's been vaping. A lot of the former players, like all the former players were JL's mates largely, right? So you have to take that with a grain. Well, you can take that with a grain of salt. You don't have to. It's certainly something you need to acknowledge that it's like all these old boys who are like, this is fucking disgraceful. The thing that I do agree with from them is like, well, where the fuck's Pat Cummins? Like, say something, dude. Like, why don't you like him? What's the problem? Like, I know he had the issues, but then he turned it around. As you said, like he's won fucking everything. What is it? Come out and say, you're the fucking captain. They're always happy to come out and talk when things are going well and there's success and all this sort of stuff. But like, you have to explain to people why you're sacking Justin Langer after the success of the side. Number one test team in the world. Like, you have to explain that, and they haven't. And so it just looks pathetic. And unfortunately, JL's got some fucking mates that are big dick swingers in cricket, right? Like, he's part of one of the all-time great teams, and some of those people are the most respected in our game, some of his teammates. So it's like, you know, you pick and choose when you want to listen to Ricky Ponting. Oh yeah, Ricky Ponting, batting technique, fucking advice, this, that. He's a commentator, but then, you know, he comes out and starts shitting on the players because of the treatment of JL. It's like, well, what, are we not going to listen to him now to befriend him? I seem to think this thing's been handled pretty poorly. And of course, and like, again, without knowing how much of what sort of a person JL was or is, which we should have an insight from the players if they're going to do this. Like, it seems stiff, dude. It seems stiff for the Zendokai Master.
It seems very stiff to the Zendokai Master. You make a great point about his fucking heavy hitter mates that he's got in the media. Like, this was Mark Taylor. The current crop of players are creating a divide between the old players. Ricky Ponting is not happy. Steve Waugh is not happy. None of us are happy. The players have to be careful they don't isolate the rest of us. Mitchell Johnson, who carries weight, but not weight like a Ricky Ponting.
No, he's a little lighter. Like, let's not.
Well, in comparison to Ricky Ponting, he's a flyweight. He has failed his first big test as captain pretty miserably. His recent interviews have been gutless. Now, it's an interesting one. Cricket Australia have played another fucking shocker. Let's be honest. They played a shocker with Tim Payne, and they played a shocker now.
They seem pretty like incompetent in a situation.
They seem like they've got no fucking backbone. Like someone's removed their backbone. They should stand up and just be honest with the punter and the dribbler. Now, with Pat Cummins, this is like, if I'm just going to say what I think's happened, this would be it. That they did the review, was that a year ago? Argument's sake, it was a year ago, because JL was fucking micromanaging everyone to death. He was super hands-on. He was fucking intense. And everyone was like, bruh, you need to chill out because you're giving us all migraines. He chills out. Supposedly when they won the T20 World Cup, he was barely involved. I don't know where I read that. That could be complete bullshit, but I read it somewhere. Apparently he was like very, very little input at all. They come from the clouds, get the big W. Then the Ashes, I mean, they were hugging and kissing and shit after victories. I'll make of that what you will. But at least
it was a hug and a kiss and then a knife in the back, Eddie.
It could have been. But from where I'm sitting, it looks like this, that they've done the review because they were like, JL's way too fucking intense. So he takes a backward step. People like Andrew McDonald come in, bit more visible. They put their spin on things. And maybe they're like, fuck JL, we want McDonald. This is the players. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it seems like that's the thing. It seems like that. Well, is Andrew McDonald the favorite to get it? That's like, he hasn't got it yet, has he?
Supposedly he's the favorite, yeah. The ring of the
Yeah, exactly. The little ranger that could. It's like, do they just want someone? I've heard a lot of people say as well, right? Like that a coach's job isn't necessarily just to blow each player individually on command. You know, sometimes you do need to get blown yourself as a coach and basically put it back on the players. Sorry to use a fellatio example there, but maybe sometimes a coach isn't always meant to tell you what you want to hear. Maybe it is meant to be a bit more home truths and all that sort of shit. I don't know. What I do sort of like raise my eyebrows at a little bit is when like you hear someone like Mark Taylor being like, they're alienating the old boys. You're like, okay, Mark, shut up. Like shut the fuck up. Like that shit to me is like lame. Oi, you better fucking not alienate us old boys. Like you guys don't play cricket anymore though. Like you're part of it, but like you don't play. So like, what do you mean alienate you? Like, do we have to do what you want?
Yeah, that's why I saved the quote to read it. I read that and I'm like, bruh, what the fuck are you talking about? There was who were the old boys recently? There was the same sort of
Broncos.
The Broncos. And like, look how that went. Oh, like invite us to a barbecue every weekend. Otherwise we're going to fucking shit on the club. It's like, shut the fuck up, bruh. Like, what are you talking about? I don't think it helps from the perspective of, well, if you're shitting on a great and handling it all very poorly in regards to Justin Langer, what does Ricky Ponting make of that? Does he sit there and go, oh, well, are they going to fuck me over too? Like from that perspective, it doesn't look good. But in terms of like alienating the players from the old players, I don't know.
That's not the point. No, but that's not the point. Like,
it's not the point.
That's not the point, Mark. Like you can talk about the treatment of Justin Langer. Sure.
That's fine.
But it's not about you. It's not about alienating you, Mark Waugh. And you know what, dude? Of all the people I expected to make a comment like that, like, of course, Mark Waugh would. Like, that's a very Mark Waugh thing to say.
Mark Taylor.
Sorry, Mark Taylor.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I take that back. I thought it was Mark Waugh. If it was Mark Waugh, I would have expected it. Apologies to Mark Waugh and Mark Waughs across the world. I thought that Mark Waugh would have said that. Mark Taylor, look.
No, it was Tubbs that said it. Yep.
Tubbs, former captain, again. Look, it's thrown me because my thesis was that it was a Mark Waugh quote, and that was a very Mark Waugh.
No. I still think
I still think it's a lame thing to say, and it's also like, Tubby, you're not even fucking commentating cricket anymore.
I know what you mean.
Former Australian captain, but like, it's a lame thing to say because it has nothing to do with it.
It's got nothing to do with it. It's not relevant. What would you want? What do they want Pat to say? Do they want Pat to come out and go, here's the fucking truth. We found JL fucking unbearable. That's the God honest truth. Now, when you come out and say that, then you're literally disrespecting a great. I don't know what's worse. What is worse? Is it worse?
People are coming out and calling you gutless. You have to front up to it and just go, listen, man, it was not working. Like it was not, even though it was working. So that's a tough you can't really say it wasn't working when you're the number one test team in the world. It's a hard sell there. But then there's also this thing with like cricket, right? Cricket's always been like the coach is a bit of a fucking poon, right? Tim Buchanan or whatever, John Buchanan. Like no one really gives a shit about the coach. They're always a bit of an afterthought, a bit of a joke. Then with Buff and probably since Buff and then Langer, it's been a bit more like the coach has held more weight. You right? You're confused.
And I'm all right. Yep, I'm good.
The coaches have held more weight. So like maybe it's like a power thing with players where they're like, we want fucking control the side again, like the good old days.
Well, that's an interesting point you raised. Because I mean, if you read like all the autobiographies from back in the Buchanan days, Shane Warne, for example, was basically like, fuck off and let us play cricket. You are so annoying. I wonder what Shane and the boys how they would have dealt with a JL type operator in the setup. You know what I mean?
Have we heard from Shane? Have we heard from Shane about the situation?
I don't know if we have heard from Shane, to be honest. But you know what I mean?
Twitter.
Like the old boys would have been like, bruh. That's the irony of it as well. Like they're supporting their mate JL. I get that 100%. You got to support your mate. But they wouldn't have handled the micromanagement supposedly that JL got up to. They would have been like, fuck off. I don't think Buchanan was that involved, and they told him to fuck off at every corner, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, exactly. He was just sort of like he was like that dude at the party that no one wanted to hang out with, and he just sort of like rocks into every conversation. You're like, That's the vibe I got from Jay Buchanan.
Having never met.
Who I've never met, never spoken to. That's just purely on vibe and vibe alone. Sorry if you do hear my voice breaking. It is not in a good way. Shane's still yet to comment, Eddie.
Interesting.
Which to me is telling, because Shane, whilst he's a bit of he's become a little bit of a big day of late. He doesn't mind sharing his opinion about shit, as we learned over the summer. So the fact that he hasn't said anything, he's been, or as you said, like a bit more of an operator of like, fuck the coach.
Well, that makes his silence telling, because he'll give his opinion on absolutely anything. He's prolific on social media. He's got a big mouth and he likes the sound of it. So the fact we haven't heard anything interesting, the one that's rattled me the most is Ricky Ponting saying something. I'm like, ooh.
Have you got his quote?
I can try and get it.
I've got it. I think I've got it on. I think I may have saved it. Give me a second. But I'm with you. When you hear Ricky.
Because Ricky's he's so measured, bro. So I'm like, ooh, hectic. I saw Gilchrist came out being like, yesterday was like a fucking pathetic day for Australian cricket or something. What a deplorable day.
Yeah. It was Gilchrist was a day after the fact as well. Gilchrist was like, I've woken up and I still can't get over how. Sorry, mate, dropped my phone on the hard floor. Let's hope I've cracked something. Gilchrist was like, I've woken up and just remembered how scat of a day for Australian cricket it was yesterday or something. Like, poor old Gilly's waking up hungover, basically. He's like, this is fucked.
Yeah, so Ponting said it is really a sad day as far as Australian cricket is concerned. And if you look back, it has been a really poor 6 months on the whole in the way that Cricket Australia has handled some of the better people in the Australian cricket. Justin Langer and Tim Payne, Ponting said. I think it's been almost embarrassing the way they've handled those two cases. Me knowing Justin the way that I do, he was very keen to continue in the role, as he should have been after what's been the best coaching period of his international career, having just won the T20 World Cup and then the 4-0 result in the Ashes. It seems like a very strange time for a coach to be departing. Reading the tea leaves, it sounds like a few. And as he says to me, a small group in the playing group and a couple of other staff around the team haven't entirely loved the way he's gone about it. That's been enough to force a man who's put his life and heart and soul into Australian cricket and done a sensational job at turning around the culture and the way the Australian team has looked at in the last few years to push him out of the job. So Ricky not happy.
No. I also got some the statement from JL, and there were some things in here that I found. First off, he mentions like how long he's been away from his family and shit, like the sacrifices he makes. Like the first time I've been home since the start of October, which is fucking crazy. Last night I was offered a short-term contract until the end of the 2020 to leave on a high, which is like the most disrespectful, patronizing fucking shit in the world. Like, oi, we'll give you this short one, then you can fuck off, but it'll be on a high. Like, well, will it? Like, what if I don't win? Decided not to accept it, as I believe it is in everyone's best interest of the Australian cricket team to start the next chapter immediately.
Mate, it's interesting. Like, what has JL done to get Cummins, presumably Smudge, presumably Marnus, presumably Gary Lyon offside? Like, he would have had to have lost the heavy hitters, surely. Because if the heavy hitters were on his side, then it wouldn't have been a fucking issue. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like, Baggy Green doesn't like him. It goes, listen, mate, you're prodigious. You're going to be a hell of a cricketer, but shut the fuck up. You're 20.
If Baggy Green says he doesn't, Baggy Green wouldn't even fucking speak. He's embarrassed about getting wickets for the nation and celebrating too hard.
But you can see through all this bullshit. They're going a small group. We're like, we know who the group is. We know who it is. It's the heavy hitters. What's happened? What's gone wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like, JL did great. He fucking turned cricket around when it was on its knees in 2018, brought it back. Yeah, we lost to India 2 years ago, or last year, but whatever. We still won the Ashes. What's happened? I'd love to fucking hear from Smudge and Cummins and go, bro, what's going on? What's happened?
This is a good part of his sort of response, JL's. In terms of going out on a high, I'm blessed to have been a part of a T20 World Cup winning squad, an Ashes winning squad, watched the test team rise to the number one test team in the world today, been selected as the Wisden Coach of the Year, and been elevated to the Australian Cricket Hall of Fame all in this last 5 months. So just that alone, right, can justify his position. And to me, it can also justify why the team hate him. Because all in one thing, it's like, look how fucking good I am, but also like, look how fucking good he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a great point that he's done all these things, but maybe the players don't feel like he contributes that much. So it's like, yeah, cool, bro. Like, you've done fuck all, but like, you're here claiming all this shit.
But that may well have been said in like anger, right?
Well, yeah, no, definitely. It's like self-defense, essentially.
We don't know anything, which is so frustrating because they just fucking straight back everything. Like, seems to be the case in world sport now. No one's open and honest. At least not in, at least not in cricket. I mean, UFC may be a little bit different. Rugby league, still they're fucking cagey as all hell. But something.
My life has been built on values of honesty, respect, trust, truth, and performance. And if that comes across as too intense at times, I apologize. It is said that in any venture, if you leave things in a better place than when you started, you've done your job. He's just like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, this place was a fucking basket case when I got here.
It was a basket case. Fucking oath it was. It's fucking interesting. And back to Mark Taylor's original point, which I'm now starting to like marinate on. There is an inherent divide that will be created, right? When they're like, explain to us why the fuck JL isn't on side with you. So it is sort of like, we're with JL because he's our pal and shit. And then there's Smudge, presumably, Cummins, presumably, Gary, presumably, Warner, presumably, who are like, we don't like JL. So that obviously creates a divide in and of itself. And then when you don't know what it's about, it's like, fucking hell.
It's a real shit fight, dude.
It's a real shit fight.
You best believe if we don't perform well in Sri Lanka, the drums will start beating for
Pakistan.
Many people. Pakistan. Who did I say?
Sri Lanka. Are we going to Sri Lanka beforehand for a one-day series or something? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
We are going to Pakistan for a historic test series. If we don't win over there, all the drums, they'll be loud. Loud.
But it's like Pat Cummins' golden summer in terms of like first captaincy, first series as captain and all that sort of shit. Like, he really needs to fucking say something. You're the captain, bro. This is the position that you wanted. He put a PowerPoint together for this position. This is part of the job, dude.
And I agree with that. If he is literally leading, and you assume he is, the fucking get out JL chorus, then he needs to come out and go, listen, me and a select group of players are the one that fucking got rid of him. Why? It wasn't working for us. Simple as that. What do you want us to say? And then if you want us to get really specific, why do you think we lost to India? Why do you think we lost at the Gabba for the first time in fucking living memory? Because he was jarring as fuck. That's why. Like,
and then maybe why we started winning after he chilled out.
Yeah, and then when he like removed himself from the setup a little bit, we started winning. I don't know. I'm trying to put words in Cummins' mouth so he can give them back to us. Trying to get him going, give him a bit of a jump start.
Seems like a cat's got his tongue, Eddie.
I think a cat has got his tongue, Tom. I think the cat's got his tongue. And if I know anything about cats and tongues, it's this. It's that when the cat gets it, you're unlikely to get it back.
Well, we certainly need to find some way of getting this cat who apparently is in possession of Pat's tongue. And how do we get that tongue back to Pat so that Pat can give us some insight into what the fuck's going on? Do we need wires? Is it just a straight up veterinary situation? Is this a feral cat? So it's a feral cat, I'd suggest wires because they're, I think, a bit more like, wild animals. Whereas if you're just a run-of-the-mill vet, who I've got the greatest respect for, I think you're more of the domesticated cat operator.
I heard something the other day, Tom. This was in regards to like dog fights. Now, I don't know if this can be translated over to the cat got the tongue situation, but finger up the bum. Stop them in their tracks.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to just give people a little bit more context there because I feel like Eddie maybe just stopped after saying you stick your finger in a dog's ass, which is true, or at least that's what I've heard. But if you've got a couple of pooches going for it.
Yeah, fighting.
finger or hose up the doot is the best way to shock them into stopping. But
Obviously,
you know what though, dude? Like, I mean, are you going to jump into a fucking dogfight just trying to aim for a butthole? Like,
Tom, I'm trying to provide the nation with solutions, not problems. Now, a cat has got Pat Cummins' tongue, and I'm trying to provide solutions to the nation so we can get some fucking answers, because we're all in the dark here. And you know what's going to happen next? You know what's going to happen next? This bit of divorce is going to hang like a fucking smog in the air. We're going to go to Pakistan.
We're the kids in this divorce, dude. We're the kids in this divorce.
And we're going to
watch fault.
Exactly.
The nation, the fans are the kids in this divorce. We really liked dad in JL or mum in JL, however you want to put him. We liked him. He was good. Yeah, sure. He was a bit of a fucking pain in the ass, but whose parents aren't every once in a while? But he seemed cool. He liked to bloody, he was a bit different. He did things right. He was a fucking great cricketer, and his coaching was pretty good too. Like, we liked him. And now mum and dad are split up, and we don't know what to do. We're torn. But the very least we can expect, if Pat Cummins is mum, that mum can at least come and tell us why she's leaving dad.
Mum needs to come into the bedroom of the nation, sit down on the end of the bed and fucking tell us what's going on, and then tuck us in and read us a nice story and give us a kiss.
Say it's not your fault, but your father and I, we haven't been happy for a long time, and he can't satisfy me in the ways that he used to, nor I him. And look, if I'm being honest with you, sons and daughters of the nation, as I sit at the foot of your bed, tucking you in, I've been fucking someone else.
I have. Your father,
His name's Andrew McDonald. He's a redhead, and I know that's going to be jarring for you, but that's what's been going on.
But there's fire in his belly, and he pleases me. But not only does he please me, he pleases my mates too. So
I've never felt so alive when I'm around him.
None of us have. JL, your father, unfortunately, he ran out of puff, and we're younger. We're more virile, and we're ready to go. And Andrew McDonald, the red nut that could, is filling us all up. So
if he can do that, then, that'll at least go a long way to alleviating, I guess, some of our own concerns and stresses around, the breakup of a marriage.
I think so. I think then after we've been tucked in and, put to bed, as it were, we can go to Pakistan with clear minds, clear hearts, clear souls.
Yep.
Yep.
That works for me.
It works for me. It works for us. It works for me. It works for us. Now, is that cricket?
I'd have to say it is. I'd have to, if I'm being completely honest, I'd have to say that's cricket.
Okay, good. Kelly Slater of our mate of we will get him on the podcast eventually fame of
smartest bet you could make is betting on us getting Kelly Slater on the podcast.
You want to make a smart bet, one of the great bets all time, bet on that. Call your bookie, say, make a market for me. Hello, Sport Boys, we'll get Kelly Slater on. They'll probably give you shit odds, but that's where you load up, you pound that. Because it will happen. Kelly,
they'll give you terrible odds, but that's a smart bet, right? You go, okay, I load up on terrible odds because it's guaranteed.
Well, either you make money or you don't. Like you stay with us, you stay with your boys, and you're guaranteed to make money. So make smart decisions. Kelly, 49 years of age, 50, I believe, on the 11th. Dior, it's around then. It's soon. You could call him 50 and people would let you get away with it.
We're in the business of rounding up, Eddie. He's 50.
We'll round up, but just because I know there's a lot of fucking naysayers that listen to us, we'll be like, he's 49. Like, righto, bro. You need to go and fucking nap and stop annoying me. 50-year-old Kelly Slater won pipe the other day, Tom. Pipe was pumping. It was about as good a competition as you're likely to see. Fucking waves were on. And Kelly was out there showing the young boys how to do it. He won his first pipe in 1992. He's 50 years of age, surfing, which is a physical as fuck sport. It's not like some sport for wily old pricks like throwing a dart or snooker.
Well, it's not the seniors tour of golf.
No. This is fucking surfing at pipe, one of the most dangerous waves on the planet. And it was pumping. So
is it his home break?
Well, sort of. he grew up there. Like he moved there when he was like pretty young, 15, 16.
Yeah, right.
I think he's got a house on Pipe, but he's not from there. He's from Florida, I believe. Dior. No, I'm almost certain he's from Florida. That's by the by. He knows the wave pretty well. But to be winning at 50 years old is fucking outrageous. Someone said the analogy was like he won in 1992, which was when Michael Jordan won his first. It'd be like him winning another championship now.
Yeah, there's a relatively reasonable. I mean, there's a lot more games to be played, but I guess
Obviously, but
it's still
translates a little bit.
Pretty hard to. Yeah, it's hard to like truly appreciate how good of a performance it was, in the sense that you just like somehow I feel like you take it for granted, where you're like, this guy's just a fucking weapon. He doesn't look 50 either. He looks at like 33 to pinch.
Yeah, he looks 33. He's aged very well. Very well. One with the water, one with nature. I don't know. Aquaman, sure. But I just found it fucking impressive that you can do that.
Dude, it's crazy. He said it was the best win of his career, which again, I like in the context of his career, I don't know. Like, as in I've followed it, but I followed his career much more peripherally. So I don't have things to draw on where it's like, oh, dude, him against fucking Andy Irons back in the fucking, whatever's. But to do it at 50 against like a young up and coming throbber.
Mate, he retired for the first time like in 99 maybe.
But he's able just to, like, because of who he is, just go, oh, I'm going to surf pipe. And they go, yeah, sure. Right? Like,
no, he gets a wild card onto the tour every year. Rain, hail, or shine, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if Kelly wants to surf, Kelly surfs. It's as simple as that. The man's a draw. He's won 11 world titles. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Now, Sunset next. He surfs Sunset pretty fucking well. Like, if he gets a W there or close to, then you start going, holy fuck. I don't think he can come to Australia because of the whole anti-vax situation. But if he wins, for example, and he goes, shit, I'm half a sniff here. Does he get the vaccine? Does he come out here trying to win at 12? I don't know. Only time will tell.
I heard him interviewed after Pipe, and he was like, that may be it for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like, I don't know if I'll go to Sunset. He's like, that might be it for me, which I kind of think is pretty badass as well. Winning.
Oh, as in he's going, I'm gonna ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense, bro.
It's a pretty cool way to go out.
Not many people go out on top, Tom. Not many people go out on top. Most people stay up there and then they fall off a cliff. And
they go out on the bottom.
They go out on the bottom. They go out at the bottom of the cliff, sprawled over the rocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Scraped off the rocks.
Well, look, I didn't want to say it, but
you did already. You said sprawled.
Sprawled. A lot of old champions do get scraped off the rocks. That's just reality. It's just a reality. But congratulations to Kelly Slater.
Well done, Kel. See you on the podcast soon, bro. We're going to obviously give him a bit more time after his win because he'll be getting inundated by fucking dribblers. But feel free to tag him in every single post we put up saying reach out Kel, because he fucking, you may not realize, but Kelly Slater reads like everything.
Kelly Slater reads absolutely everything. If you want proof of that, he was replying to dribblers last year when we were teasing him about Donald Bradman and him calling him Donald Beedman. If you interact with him on behalf of the podcast in the sense of saying like go on Hello Sport and you're disrespectful to him, then fuck you. You're not a real dribbler. No, you got to be respectful. Otherwise, fuck you. Because it makes us look bad. Remember that. Be respectful, but also just keep in mind that he does read everything, which should also be further a reason to be respectful because he does read it and he might reply. So congratulations to Kelly.
Well done, Kel.
Tom, I know you've missed it because you've been chasing after kids in Milton or wherever the fuck you are. But Australia's won gold. In the Winter O's, which, as I said to you before, I fucking have been so checked out of the news cycle. One of the nice subplots of
going on holiday. I forgot the fucking Winter Olympics were on.
The Winter O's are on, Tom. It's been 12 years since we've last won a gold medal. Deal what that was in. But we've won gold once more. Now, Jakara Anthony, Tom, born in Cairns, reared in Barwon Heads, of all fucking places, has won gold in the Australian women's, in the women's moguls, rather. Fucking dominated. Won the preliminary, won the 3 heats, 3 finals on the way to glory. Like, Australians, when they are in the mood, can't be bested, I don't think.
Especially like, you know, sure, we've got a bit of, we got some snow here. Not really, though. Not much snow. Not snow you can really hang your hat on. No disrespect to your Perisher Blues and your Mount Hothams of the world, but let's not pretend you're fucking Vale or Aspen or something.
Well, you're not world class. I mean, we can all sit here and say, and it's correct, that you can do what you want to do at Perisher Blue. I mean, that saying rings true even today, Tom. The reality is, you know, it's bush league snow. It's bush league snow compared to what
you know what bush league snow is, Eddie? It's ice. Largely our snow fields are ice.
Yep.
And you can go pretty quick on ice, but it's very hairy.
That's right. Look, it's not ideal, certainly. I tell you who
the dribblers in our DMs, you fucking never been to this place. All right, we get it. I'm sure we get some snow in this one pocket of the nation. The point I'm making is when an Australian gets gold at the Winter Olympics, it's in spite of the level of snow we have, which makes the win even better. Some Swiss piece of shit who's like been bouncing down moguls their whole life watches an Aussie Jakara Anthony.
Yeah, dude. From Cairns, reared in fucking Barwon
Heads. You don't get snow in either of those places.
Cairns is hot as fuck. It's in the tropics, and Barwon Heads is outside of Melbourne, I believe. Now, how
many millennia would you have to go back to have seen snow in Darwin or Cairns? Sorry,
Tom. Can I go you one better, big fella? Can I go you one better? I believe Cairns is in the tropics. Dior. If it's not, it's fucking close. I was looking in this up the other day. No one from a tropical part of the earth has won an Winter Olympics medal. Now, from where I'm sitting, Jakara is the first. So get them together. The first athlete from the tropics to take home a medal, not just any medal, a gold medal at the Winter Olympics.
That's horny work from Jakara. Well done to Jakara.
Fucking horny work from Jakara. So shout out to her. She's ripping and tearing. And obviously shout out to Cody, who won bronze in the snowboarding something. She was on a snowboard. She was doing tricks. I don't know what the fuck it was.
She got a medal.
She got a medal. Did you know, Tom?
Love to see it.
We love to see it. Did you know that Beijing, where they're holding the Winter Olympics, would you assume how much of the snow do you reckon is fake?
Oh, yeah, fuck. Look, not knowing China's weather system, I'd say like 90% of it's fake.
Yeah. I think it's more like 99% of it's fake.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah.
Apparently, and I only just read I read basically the headline today. So do your own research, take it with a grain of salt. Very Dr. Robert Malone vibes from me here. But apparently they every athlete at the Winter Olympics has, whether it's a phone or something that's like Chinese issued to make sure they're all sort of tracked in what they're doing. And apparently that some guy reverse engineered the phones and they are just recording all of their conversations at all times. Which, to be fair, might be happening on my phone, but they were just so every athlete knows they're getting recorded all the time.
That should surprise nobody.
That's the most Chinese thing I've ever heard.
It's the most exactly. But I just found it interesting that China won the Winter Olympics knowing that they have next to no snow. So what they've had to do...
It's dystopian, dude. It's dystopian.
Yeah. They don't have much, their water supply is not great. So in winter, it's winter there at the moment, they get very little rainfall. And so they had to redirect like a reservoir from somewhere, I think presumably water for the city of Beijing. I think they've redirected that somewhere, filled an old dam or an old creek bed, and they're using that to power the like the snow machines. They're using like ridiculous amounts of water. And obviously,
whilst they have a water shortage.
yeah. And there was thousands of farmers that needed to be rezoned, but that's by the by.
Sure. Look, I know that you guys rely on this water, but what's Scotty James going to fucking snowboard down?
Yeah. And look, I know that your family have been, working this land for generations, but we're going to have to move you and your family to this nice little shack that we've bought you in the middle of fucking nowhere. So that's nice.
Have you heard of Jakara Anthony? Yeah. Have you heard of Jakara Anthony? Oh, you haven't? Right. Well, so she's a real favorite in the moguls. So first one from the tropics. So this whole region you've owned and operated for better part of maybe 100, 200 years, just a family, we are going to probably flood this area. So we're going to need you to get out. Don't worry though, we have found some really nice accommodation for you in a completely different city. Obviously, you'll have to get there yourself, but it's there. So enjoy that.
Yeah. And look, might be some listeners being like, what are you fucking talking about? Get around Jakarta. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is the IOC, if they did their due diligence, might have realized that Beijing probably better for summer games, not winter games. I would have been saying to the IOC, listen, instead of displacing heaps of rural farmers on the outskirts of Beijing, why don't we nip down to Thredbo or Perishablue, okay, and have the first Australian Winter Olympics? Because I've been there and I reckon it's possible.
We can make fake snow. If the Chinese can do it,
if the Chinese can do it, we can do it. What about the snowy hydro? There's fucking shitloads of water up there. You could tap that, you could plug that, and you could ship that shit up there, and you could be pumping that fake snow all day long.
Yeah.
All day long. Now, you got Jindabyne there. Like, Jindabyne's got extra beds if you need extra beds. If beds are an issue, Jindabyne's got you covered. You can go a bit further down to Cooma. Like, there's options there. Options there. An Australian
Smiggins, Eddie, I don't know if you remember Smiggins. Smiggins was, I think, also a smaller sister to Thredbo, which was close. You had like places you could sleep, bunk beds and shit. Like, we can give these athletes what they deserve. Some bunk beds in some weird, poorly heated fucking snow cabin. It's surely got to be better than anything China are doing. We won't listen to their conversations.
Well, we're not going to listen to your conversations, and we're not going to purposely starve you, which is supposedly what some athletes are claiming who've been like forced into quarantine either before their event or because of COVID. I think before the event it would be. Their food, like
the Chinese are starving them.
Have a look at some of the photos that people have put up. I'm like, dear God, is that the entree? Is that the meal? What is that? Like, apparently,
this is dystopia, dude. It's kind of like, we laugh at the surface level nature of it, but it's actually very, very, very scat. Like, China, China is China. They don't seem to give a fuck. I don't think, but I mean, it's not like it's limited just to China, but like, this whole thing is very, why do they get it, right? Like, the IOC just give it to people that fucking pay them money. The Olympics isn't even like a thing where it's like, oh, some new city every year. It's kind of like, oh, we might go back to fucking Beijing. Oh, Australia's gone from having it in the 2000. Now we've got it again in 2030. Like,
well, I mean, it's become too expensive for countries. I mean, we could get into that, but maybe it's not even fucking worth it. But put it this way. Put it this way. The only ones that I've read about online that have played eyes up rugby league football are the United States, who took pre-packaged pasta, shit that you can like heat up with hot water. They took their own food because they were like, the Chinese are going to fuck us here.
That's a problem though, right? When the integrity of the games are coming into question because the host nation seem to be some of the dodgiest cunts on the earth.
Mate, if you've got to take your own food to the Olympics, then that should raise an eyebrow, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd? People find that odd. I find that odd.
Is anyone thinking that prepackaged, like, basically like army rations so that you don't get fucking starved to death in an Olympics? Like, sure, the Olympics are meant to be the tippy top of everything.
They took camp food. The US took camp food you take camping. And
Trangiers and shit.
mate, when was the last time you had a good feed camping?
You don't.
Not unless you
just get through. You have a big eat, you chuck it on the fire, let it heat up.
I'm talking about like those cadet camps. You know what I mean? Like that sort of shit. I'm not taking.
You get a tinned Heinz Big Eat, Eddie. You whack that. You crack the lid just a little bit. You whack that thing into some hot Australian coals. You let it bubble nicely, and then you dinner served. But it's not a good meal. I guarantee you're having to duck off to a secluded part of the bush to do a really uncomfortable poo in the middle of the night. It's not going to be good.
Yeah. One that attracts bears if there were bears around. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, some sort of a dangerous creature.
Point is pretty weird stuff from the IOC.
Yeah.
Pretty weird stuff. But that doesn't take away from Jakara Anthony being the first person living or dead, Tom, to win a Winter Olympics medal coming from the tropics. So shout out to her. She's 23. She's a terror. Love to see.
Huge fan. I was out on Friday night at this pub in Milton, and friend of the show, Rory Hill, was there because it was like the prees to the engagement, which was on Saturday, and so we were all out sort of catching up on the Friday night. And I was going to the bathroom, and I was walking past Rory Frogman on the way to the bathroom, and I was like, and he stops me as I walk past. He goes, "Dude, fucking, did you hear Sean Blaw's done his ACL? He's out for the season." And I'm like, who the fuck's Sean Blaw? And this is no disrespect to Sean Blaw, who does exist, but like any rugby league player, unless you come on to hit the scene like a Greg Inglis, you are going to probably have a relative period of anonymity. Sean Blaw might go on to be one of the great rugby league players all time, but he's like a fucking Tigers fringe first grader.
Right. Okay.
And as I'm walking to the bathroom, the reason I'm telling it is because it might be the single most dribbly rugby league interaction that I've ever had in public, which is where like I'm getting yelled at from across the fucking pub. "Oi, bro, did you hear Sean Blaw's done his ACL? He's out for the season." And I'm like, I couldn't have been more confused. I was like, who the fuck is Sean Blaw? No disrespect to Sean Blaw.
No disrespect, but I mean, I think, and Frog will be, he'll be upfront about this. Tigers fans are a different breed. That's what they hang on to now. They haven't played finals footy since 2011. People like Sean Blaw of Who the Fuck Are You fame, of might go on to great things fame. That's what they talk about around the water cooler.
At the Tigers. And I'm like, listen, dude. He's like, I thought you knew your rugby league. I go, bro, listen up. If me not knowing who Sean Blaw is a stain on my reputation, then let it stain. Let it stain me. I'm happy to be stained by it. Again, no disrespect to Sean, who I'm sure is not only a great guy, but a footballer of real promise. And it sucks that he's done his ACL and he's out for the season.
Well, he looks like a specimen. He's 6'3", he's 108 kilos. He's played 18 games for the West Tigers. So
what color hair has he got?
He's got brown hair.
Yeah.
He played 12 games in 2021. I'll say this. Do I keep a really close eye on the Tigers? No, I don't. Does that shock
anyone? What about a 12 gamer? What about a Tigers 12 gamer, Eddie?
Well, he's played 18 games in fairness to him. Am I across 18 gamers for the West Tigers? The answer clearly is no. No, it's not. Again, I don't know why that would be surprising to people. Would I be across 18 gamers for St. George? Probably not. Am I across 18
Unlikely.
for Cronulla?
Unlikely.
Probably not. Like, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Most people don't know other clubs' players that have played 18 games. That's all I'd say.
So, look, I just thought I'd pop that out because...
Well, I'm glad you popped it out, Tom, because you're padding the end of the podcast, and that's what it's all about.
You know what? And one more thing, if I could pad it out, one more thing that I did do.
Yeah.
So this first place we first stayed in Milton for 2 nights. Lovely little place there. And then stupidly we changed residences yesterday when we were all really hungover. That was just poor. That was eyes down footy from us.
Why would you have done? Why wouldn't you just stay there the whole time?
Because we couldn't extend at this one place, which was a pain in the ass. But it was a nice place, and we were like, "Fuck it, whatever. We'll just go to it first." But anyway, it was a really nice joint. Had 2 outdoor bars that overlook like rolling hills and then the ocean in the distance.
I saw Steph in a bath.
Right. Well, this is where we're going. So also there is a golf. This is not part of it, but there was a golf tee down the bottom of the down the bottom of the paddock. So you'd be up on this hill and you'd hit there, and they had like a golf bag and a bunch of balls, and we were fucking playing closer to the pin. Great time well spent. Not the point. So there's 2 outdoor baths, and all the girls were going out there and having lovely, fucking warm baths in the crisp Milton air. Steph wanted to get a couple of photos for us, so I took a bunch of photos of her and all the girls in the bath having wine and whatever else. Then my old man's looking after the house, and I was going to send him a photo of me and Evie because it was the first time Evie had seen a rainbow, and there's this really nice photo of me and Evie under the rainbow, essentially. I just sent my old man like 60 photos of Steph in a bath, like in a fucking bikini, and I was like, "Oh shit, sorry, I didn't mean for that." He was like, "Yeah, that was unnecessary." And then I was like, you know what? Steph will never know. Dad, like, it was an accident, doesn't matter. And then Dad forwards some of them onto my sister. And then Bonnie then has this circle back into a conversation that she's in with me and Steph. And it's like, "Oh yeah, I saw Dad sent me some photos of you in the bath, Steph." And I'm like, "Oh." How the fuck do you get those? I'm like, "Oh, that was me. I might have sent him about 60 $60. He's got a few to choose from to forward onto bonds." Anyway.
Oh well, unless you had a bikini on.
Yeah, well, exactly. If she'd been nude, that would have been tough.
It would have been a different conversation. And then if he's forwarding them to Bonnie, and then she's forwarding them back into the group again, different. Just a different.
That's a completely different situation.
Well, it's a different story.
Yeah. But I think that's probably as fucking much as I can pad, bro.
Nice, bro. Proud of you, bro.
Like I might have a fever. We don't know. You might be looking at a man with the early onset fever.
We don't know. We don't know for sure. Shout out to the punters and the dribblers for dealing with shit audio.
Thank you. Listen, shit? I will say this to the punter and the dribbler. We're in the middle of some big changes in the world of Hello Sport that we don't want to talk about yet, but they're big. They're all positive, nothing negative, but they are it's all happening. So just bear with us for a minute while we get our ducks in a row. If some audio shit, apologies. If, we're a bit late on a podcast because Daddy's fucking dying in Milton, give us a moment. Trust me, big things coming.
Huge things coming. Huge, good, positive things coming. Thursday, Jarch of TikTok fame will be joining us. So there's that for the punter and the dribbler. There's
that to be excited about.
There's a gift for the punter and the dribbler. There's a gift. Thank you. Love yous all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Could you two just not talk anymore?